Welcome back to b3mtb podcast with your host, Hall
and John Earle.
All right, episode 2 has started. Here we go.
Can we talk about B3 first? Because we made a very big mistake on our first episode.
We went almost 40 minutes and didn't explain one time what B3 was.
And to be fair to us, we've been talking about doing this for so long. B3 to us is
you
known.
guys should know.
You should understand.
Like,
I don't know where you're at, but you should understand.
Like right now listening, if I was like, what does B3 mean? You should have an answer and get it right.
But since you don't know.
No one did. Everyone's like, what does that mean? And I was like, oh.
b3mtb stands for bikes, bruises, and beverages. And then mountain biking, because that's what we do and that's what we're talking about, right?
Yeah, I mean, because, you know, our kind of what encapsulates us is we're just average guys talking about our mountain biking adventure. And for us, like, those three things are kind of the staples of what our mountain biking adventures are. It's all about biking. If you go on a trip, like, there's going to be some injury. It might be a scrape, might be a bruise, might be a hospital trip. But, like, something is going to happen, and you know that.
And then you finish that trip off with beverages.
Some beverages. For me, it's beer almost every time.
Yeah, me too. But I tend to like some bourbon and stuff, so I mix it up. But mainly beer. We will talk about mainly beer, but every now and then we'll throw a different type of beverage in there. But it's also not just alcohol, right?
Yeah, I mean, I do enjoy spending a crazy amount of money on Liquid Death. Like, there's a very cheap fizzy water that you can buy that's flavored that probably tastes the same, but their label sucks.
Liquid Death.
Liquid Death, so cool. If you want to be a cool kid and drink water, sometimes just tap water, but with a cool label, like, you spend $3 to $4 on a can of water, and it says Liquid Death on it. Murder your thirst. And it makes no sense. I know that, but it makes me feel good. It makes me feel so cool. Anyway. I'm at least 32. I'm not 37 when I drink Liquid Death. I'm back to 32. Speaking of beverages, what are you drinking today?
Oh yeah. So this is, what was it? This is real life here, guys. Hold on.
Was it Dead Lizard?
Yes, you're right. It's Dead Lizard. It's an ale. I believe it is a Central Florida brewery. Don't quote me on that. I'm not quite sure.
No idea. We're in Central Florida.
I'm sorry?
I said we are in Central Florida.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean they got their beer from Central Florida. It can be moved from, So just don't quote me on that. But it's delicious. I like it. It's got a nice color, too. It's important. It's important when you're putting things in your body to understand the color, right? What about you? What do you
got? So I got an Elijay. I've never heard of this, but it was on tap. Their citrus.
I was going to say it looks a little
hazy IPA, which I'm pretty big fan of the hazy IPAs, but never heard of it, and it's delicious. I'm not like, but like, if you give me 10 beers of things that I like, so like, if you give me 10 hazy IPAs, 8 of them are going to be 5 out of 5. Like, I'm just going to love almost every single one of them, and then the other 2 might be a 3 out of 5. Yeah. That I would probably drink again. Like, I'm easy to please.
You just have a problem.
I feel like I have a solution.
So now that we got our drinks out of the way, let's talk about where we're at, because obviously there's a background here.
Yeah, if you go on the YouTube link, you'll see that we're in a different spot than we were last.
And it's
last
pretty
week.
cool. It's our first time setting up inside of a facility. But we are at Adrenaline Bike Works in Mount Dora. It's a local bike shop. It's local to me. I'm right down the road. I come here all the time. Not only because I'm right down the road, but this shop has everything you need.
Yeah.
I mean, and the staff is amazing. But, I mean, you've been here numerous times.
So I think you were the one who told me about this place. And there are multiple bike shops closer to me than this one. And so kind of I checked those places out. And I don't have anything bad to say. But as soon as I came here, I noticed the difference. Like, this is It almost feels like my family bike shop. Like I come here and I'm like, I love it. And it's got the right vibe. Obviously, like the brews are on tap. So,
which is it's a new thing coming to bike shops.
Yeah.
Ish. Right. I do still go to other bike shops because I don't hate on any bike shop, right? But this bike shop is probably my favorite.
My favorite. This is my home base. I mean, I'm telling you, I drive by other bike shops. For the most part, I don't think about going to them. If I need something for my bike, I'm coming here.
Yeah.
And
they're super accommodating.
Yeah, they're super accommodating. The only thing they've helped us do is they helped move some stuff out of the way. Like they didn't know we were coming today. This is like we have our podcasting equipment. Like, hey, can we move a picnic table and set up here? Like there's, like you'll probably see, you got people in the background working on bikes. This is their shop, and it's super cool. They got a jump jam later tonight, I think. So they got
starts at 6.
Yeah, the airbags, which is what's today? Is today Saturday? Yeah.
Yeah.
Today's Saturday. We'll push this out on Monday.
You guys should have been here.
You guys should have been here.
But it's an active bike shop, like you said. There's people working, people buying, and we're sitting in the middle of a track right now. It's an indoor track, so all this is, like you said in our first episode, unedited. People come in and ride this track.
Yes.
I'm really hoping someone.
If my kids were here, they'd be running around. They're not good enough to ride this track. I mean, it's simple, but like, even if they were good enough, I'd be like, kids, get off your bike. There's no way.
You're embarrassing me.
You're embarrassed. And you're gonna find a way to crash into the most expensive bike and break it. Yeah. And I don't want to buy a broken expensive bike. If I'm gonna buy a bike, it's not gonna be one that you've destroyed already.
But anyway, if you're in the Central Florida area, come check out Adrenaline Bike.
It is cool. They do a lot of cool events. I mean, I can't say enough good things about them. They're awesome. They've been awesome for the community.
I mean, they're staple for working on the mountain bike trails, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you've ridden the Mount Dora trails, they've had a big part of the improvements made in the recent years, which I've been awesome because I've only gotten into this for a couple of years, and it's like I can already see a huge difference that they've done to those trails, which is nice.
So our last episode, we talked about the intro we had into mountain biking, and then we also talked about the beginning of our trip, right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of what we're going to segue into
today. And a crazy trip.
It's a good trip. An
absolutely wild trip.
For our first one, I think we kind of went for it.
Did you know we were going to go for it? Like, did you know what we were getting into?
I didn't know exactly, no. But I'm glad we did because the memories are amazing.
And and honestly, like that trip for me, like going back to episode 1, like how we got into this and why we started, like,
did it solidify it for you? Like,
yes, it solidified not just the writing, but the idea of like the podcast. Like after the trip, I didn't know like, hey, I want to start a podcast because of that trip. But that trip was the foundation. And it's like, hey, like there are so many people having these types of trips. Like I want to know about their trips. Like I want people to like, I want to hear people's stories. And I think like, I mean, if you're listening to this, you probably want to hear ours. Or I've guilt tripped you into listening.
Or you don't, you're just really supportive. What are you looking at?
Oh, yeah. We got the manager, like, we're live. The manager's coming over. Yeah, that's fine. All right. Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
So, like we tell our guys, we don't edit anything.
So welcome to the show, dude.
Hey, thanks. Sorry, I didn't mean that.
No, you're good.
No worries.
Thank you.
All right. But so that trip, it didn't solidify mountain biking for me because we've already been riding, but what it did was it kind of opened up the fact that we can make a yearly trip or bi-yearly trip and really just see how we've progressed into different areas and
Yeah.
also just make those memories and hang out with the guys and girls and just it's something that every year now we have to do a bike trip because I will not go a year where we miss out on that
Yeah.
opportunity. You know what I mean? It's hard to describe.
Yeah. Yeah. I would be disappointed if I only go on one at this point. Like it's like I look at the calendar and I'm like, I'm 3 months away from this, 2 months, 1 month, like, and then the next one, like I have to have it scheduled. So yeah, our first trip was to Mulberry Gap, which we kind of talked about. We talked about it's a mountain biking getaway, but I mean, just to say it's a mountain biking getaway, like you can't. It's hard to visualize. Like that doesn't do a very good job. Like this place is, it's in near Elijay, Georgia.
Yep.
It is. I mean, you're taking 2-lane roads to get there. Then you hit the gravel path, and the first time you go there, you're like, thank goodness they put a sign up because you're like, I can't be in the right spot.
Right. No cell reception. No
yeah.
GPS.
Yeah, your GPS goes out about 2 miles away from the place, so
We're not cool enough to have maps or anything like that. So
no, those were for our fathers. Idiots. They didn't even have cell phones.
man, that was a good trip, dude.
So we get there, and so they got the main office, which has a cool little shop, and they got some good merch. That's like a merch bike shop, and then you got a barn, which is open 24/7.
Oh.
You got a TV, you got a landline phone.
That's where all the meals are served.
That's where the meals are served, and then you got a couple community bathrooms, and then what do they got, like 6, 7 cabins? Probably the cabins are double sided, so you can take the front or the back.
Right.
And these
So-
cabins are simple.
Yeah, no, they're what you need though, right?
That's all
And
I want.
It's kind of they are double cabins, so when you look at it, you see like, okay, there's only 6 cabins here, right? But they're double, so you double those up. There's 12. They have the squirrel nest uphill, which is what we had last time.
that was a cool spot.
We'll get into that in another episode. Then they have a ton of campgrounds because people camp.
Yeah,
Tent camping, bring your small campers.
yeah.
I don't think they're really set up for big RVs or anything like that, but
No, but like they're super accommodating. So last time you guys had the squirrel's nest, and I brought my little square drop trailer, and I was like, hey, I need
that's right.
I need electrical, and they're like, hey, just use the driveway as your campground, and you can hook up to the, like, they were super accommodating.
Yeah, so you didn't have to pay for another spot. You just parked next to our cabin.
I just paid for me as a person. Yeah, they were awesome about it, because like, you know what, they're mountain bikers that were like, hey, we have this opportunity to have a really cool venue, and they just want mountain bikers, like they get it.
So what did we do when we got there? Because it was an 8-hour drive.
So it's an 8-hour drive, and can we talk about, because I drove, you were in the passenger seat, and we had our buddy, who's yet to be named.
He did just text me though.
He did just did he? That was him?
Yeah, he texted me and said he's listening to our first episode.
He's
We're out there, dude. I mean,
yeah, we're big time now.
a week later, people are still listening to it.
Good thing that he's listening to it, because he's gonna have some things. He's gonna have some critiques. Good for him. You always need to have friends that want to make you better,
Or just make fun of you.
or
I
just
love him though.
yeah. He's gonna tell us that Anyway, so it's an 8-hour drive. He sleeps in the back seat of my truck for the first 3 hours, which is fine because we left early. You know, fair enough. You have the opportunity to sleep in the back seat. But if you sleep in the back seat of the truck and you wake up like you haven't gotten any sleep, you're in the passenger seat. It's my truck, so I understand. Like, he probably isn't going to be like, wake up and be like, dude, I'll drive. Like, I got this. Like, it's an 8-hour trip. I can do that all by myself. It's fine. What does he do?
Complained.
He complained. He slept for the first 3 hours, woke up, and started complaining.
Complained and then ate all your snacks.
Ate all my snacks and complained about the quality of the snacks that he just ate. He didn't bring any snacks. Did he go to sleep? I think he took
went
it
back to sleep.
back to sleep.
That's funny, dude. I have good pictures of that too. It's funny.
I promised myself I wouldn't laugh so hard in the microphone. I apologize. So we get, but the most memorable part of that drive, you remember what you said when we pulled in Elijay?
Oh my gosh, yes. I wish I knew what road it was, but you pull off the main road and you're starting to head down the back roads to the campground, right?
Is that before you hit the downtown or after?
It's right through the downtown.
Okay.
So you come off the main road in downtown.
Yep.
You make that left if you're coming from Florida like we were. And we come to a red light. It's the last red light before we get to Mulberry Gap. And there is a sheer cliff in front of us. And I gave the curse. I said the curse and said, someone's going to get hurt. I looked at that cliff and said, somebody's going to get hurt.
It's a, I don't know, you call it a mountain, but it's a, let's call it a large hill. It's like a mountain in front of you, but it's wooded, lots of vegetation. And so you're, and then out from all this vegetation is this massive cliff. And we were both just staring at it. And then you said that someone is going to get hurt this trip. I mean, to be fair, like I looked at it and I was like, there's a good chance it's me.
So let's talk about that, though, because maybe I did set a curse, but no one got hurt on the mountain.
Yeah, you're right.
So
yeah, you're right.
I said the words you shouldn't say.
Yeah.
But to be fair to me, it didn't happen on the mountain.
Yeah, that's fair. It happened nowhere near a cliff.
Nope.
It happened nowhere near an advanced riding feature.
Nope. Wasn't even on a trail.
When I was looking at this at Mulberry Gap, they had an Instagram video of a kid going down a pump track. No, like one of those kid bikes, like 2 years old, no pedals, just a kick bike, going down a pump track. And that's where it's at. That's where it happened.
Yeah. So, and not very long into it either. I mean, we get there, we check in, get to our cabin.
And we are gung-ho. Like, we get there, we left early, so we got there at like 2 or 3?
I think 2 o'clock, yeah.
And so we're checking in. I'm like, where can we ride? Who did we talk to? Was it
the lady up.
Yeah, there's like, yeah.
I don't remember her name.
There's a couple of, yeah.
But we check in, everyone's getting ready, we get to our cabins. You and I think, are the first ones done because we're going on a ride.
Yeah.
So we get out there and we find a pump track. And the pump track is on base camp, just set out off of the road. It's a good track.
Yeah, so there's actually a kind of an advanced drop into it, or there's or an intro drop in.
Sure, you don't have to start up where we started. You can start lower. But we were starting up top and we're getting that speed because
it's like berm, some rollers.
2 tabletops.
2 tabletops.
2 more rollers that you could double.
Yep.
And then you go into a berm on the way out.
Yeah, for us, like, I think we're both better now. We would have doubled it right away. But back then, a couple years ago, like, it took us a little bit to figure out our timing. And we hit that for an hour?
I feel like an hour.
Dude,
before the guys got ready.
Yeah, so we did that. Everyone gets ready.
They start showing up to where we're at, and we're like, all right, let's take off, right?
Yeah, let's take off. So we didn't know where we were going, remember? So it's fire roads. So there's a couple drop-off points to some pretty epic trails. P3, which we didn't even know about the first trip. We didn't see.
Oh, it seems so silly,
so
too.
P, if we say P and then a number, P stands for Pinhoti. And the Pinhoti Trail is a pretty big trail system up in Georgia and amazing riding. So we totally missed P3. We're on the fire trail, and everything's 2-way trails. So it's not one way, but there's
a better way to ride it.
There's a better way to ride it.
We know that now. We've been there numerous times.
We did not know that in the beginning. So we went down the fire road, almost towards the where the gravel road starts, and we saw a sign for P2, Pinhoti 2.
And looking back now, there was cars parked and
Yes.
and guys there.
Do you know why cars are parked there?
'Cause it's the end of a trail.
End of a trail.
We're
What
so
do
dumb.
what do we do?
Yeah,
Let's start there.
we started the trail.
Just
So-
looking back now, like we had all the signs.
So what was our group? We had like 9 people.
Yeah, it was.
We had 9 people. We get to the trail, and we're like, all right, we're going. And one of our buddies, bike goes down, right?
Yeah,
His shock loses, his rear shock loses all the air. And I don't know, I'm sure maybe like the ride up, right?
and this
Maybe
is
loosen something.
This is the guy that has every multi-tool.
No, Boy Scout. Call him Boy Scout.
Eagle Scout.
Eagle Scout.
Eagle Scout. He has the shock pump. He's the only one with all the tools. He's the most. Remember his handlebar setup?
Yeah.
He had 4 different computers. He had his phone. He had like a GPS,
But
calorie counter. I don't know what he had on there. He had an extra maybe he had a battery pack to power his other computers.
but his rear shock goes down. He's like, guys, I got it. I'll fix it. Go. And 2 of our buddies stay back with him. Okay.
Fair move. We're adults. He probably could have gotten there on his own because he's probably the most, like, if he got lost in the way, he'd come back like, hey guys, I killed a bear in my adventures and I'm going
Made
to
it
provide
here.
dinner.
Yeah. But they don't. So they stay with him, and they end up not going in the trail. But we do.
Yeah.
We go in the trail
From the bottom.
from the bottom, and we climb and climb and climb. We climbed
It took us
45 minutes, if not more.
honestly, by the time if you were to climb straight, it would probably take less than 45. But you got 6 guys with varying degrees of skill, ability, and fitness.
Some of the guys, one of the guys was on a rental bike from here.
From Adrenaline, yeah.
I rented
Norco Fluid, right?
Norco Fluid.
Yeah, he had a better bike than half the guy. Like, he rented a bike. He's like, I don't know what I'm doing. It's like, well, congrats, dude. You
That's
got a better
funny.
bike than everyone.
Funny. Yeah, so different degrees. So it took a while. I don't remember how long it took.
First day, we don't care. Like, we are, like, guys are tired, but you're fresh tired.
Yeah, it's like-
and fresh tired is okay.
You're like, this is awesome, right?
This is awesome, dude.
So we ride
Look
that.
at the trees. This is so cool.
We ride that far, that long, climbing on a trail. It's not like an easy riding trail, right? There's roots and rocks and
Yeah, so, we're getting off our bike, walking for decent amounts. We're climbing, and there'll be a few, like, downhill breaks, but they're few and far between and short.
and we get to this point where we're like, we start going downhill. We're like, this is it. This is the downhill. And we go downhill for, let's just say 5 minutes.
And we are hooting and hollering,
Ripping.
screaming.
We're moving.
Dude, and we were ripping.
And we get to a clearing, and it's what do you call it? It's like a fire road clearing, right? Like
Yeah.
the
We
fire
call
road
it
leads
the
there.
start of the trail. But it's at the end.
It's
But
the
we
start-
don't know any of this.
Start of a trail, that's for sure it was.
It's just a break point for us. We don't know where we're at.
No.
There's no cell phone reception, so it's not like you can be like, let me pull up a
Trail forks? Yeah, sure. No.
Which I didn't have trail forks. I had nothing.
So we get to this fire road clearing, and what do we look around? And it's like, oh, okay, well, we can take a fire road down further to hopefully another trail, or there's like a trail.
Yeah. So yeah, the fire road, gravelly road, you can take that, which looks boring.
But there's like a fire road trail to our right.
Yeah, I think it would probably be called like a quad track. So the single track, double track, and this is not quite big enough for a car, but it's there for it's a road.
It looked like that's where we had to go,
It looks like that's where we should go.
so we rode it.
Oh my gosh! And
And
did
you were 1,
yeah,
I was 2, and we were moving. It was straight. It was downhill.
the first 30 seconds to a minute, I can't remember, but there was a good amount of time that I was like, this is it. Because remember, we finished on P2. The start of P2 is a bit of a climb. So we went the wrong way. So the end of P2 for us was all this downhill, hooting and hollering. And it was a continuation of that. Little rollers that we were getting some air on.
I feel like we rode a mile in.
Yeah, I guess we probably did. Looking back now, but it felt like it was short. You know,
Yeah.
like when you're crushing good trail, like time goes by pretty quick. When you're climbing,
Time goes by, but then
yeah.
the trail started getting narrower.
So, well, it didn't get narrow at first. There was trees
Yes.
that were like, you'd come around a corner and there'd be a tree blocking, and not just like a bare tree. Like, these things had branches all over that looked like spears. And so I'm like, tree, and we're like, everyone's slamming on the brakes and like, oh, dude, there's a tree down. Like, it's the forest. Not a big deal.
Just go under it, go around.
Go under, over, around, doesn't matter.
Keep riding.
Keep riding.
Because the trail's still there.
We go a couple more minutes, another tree. Well, at this point, it's the double track and trees, and it's like, okay. But, like, the trees started getting exponentially closer together.
Yeah.
And so now it was like, we're not even getting back on our bike because we see the next tree down. It turned into single track, which is fine.
Game trail.
Yeah, single track turned into game trail. Which, if you're not familiar with hunting, that's just like where animals walk. So it's not a well beaten path.
And then it turned into nothing.
Yeah,
we're in the woods.
Yeah, and then it just turned into like we're just walking around. There is no game track. I'm sure someone could have followed the game track, but I could not. No one in our group could.
No, and then at this point we're like, oh, gosh.
We're miles in. We talked about we're not. You got a flat tire 4 miles in. Like we don't know how far we're in.
But we also didn't think like we did something wrong. We're like, maybe we missed something, right? And we go this direction because I mean your inner compass can say like, hey, we came this way, we got to go this way, right?
Yeah.
So we're like, all right, let's just walk
I'm pretty
a little bit.
sure the camp is yonder. Let's go yonder.
Well, it was not.
It wasn't.
Gosh, we weren't turning around because we were miles in. We weren't going uphill for miles.
No, because we were already, like, by that time we were already we were pretty beat from the climb up Pinhoti 2.
Yeah, for going backwards.
So we're going to keep going downhill. That's the logical decision.
We chose to go yonder, and yonder was very difficult.
Oh, my gosh.
Because it was mountainous, up and down.
We're not, to be clear, we're not riding our bikes anymore.
No, we're carrying them.
We are carrying our bikes. The terrain is such that we cannot push our bikes. It has to be carried. And there were times that it was so steep, we would have to, like, on all fours, leave our bike. We'd leave our bike, climb on all fours, get to a tree that we could base ourselves out of.
And get our bike pushed up.
Someone would push our bike. We could keep our bike there. We'd have to climb further up, get another. So it's like we had this system down. Well, again, how many hours are we 3-4 hours into this? Yep. There's no point that this is now fun.
No,
we're not having fun. This is a huge concern. Because remember, we started at 2.
We got there at 2. We started at probably 3.
Yeah.
We're talking May, so we're 3 hours in. It's 6:30. The sun is going down.
The sun is going down, and we don't have any cell phone reception. Someone picks up like a cell phone reception every like 10 to 20 minutes. So like, you know when you're looking at your phone and you're like, it's showing you that you're looking north, but actually you're not. It just hasn't registered. Mm-hmm. Like every 10 minutes we would get like a different reading, and so that like, we talked about yelling at each other. Like we didn't know what was right. I was like, well, 10 minutes ago, we needed to go this way. And you're like, yeah, but it's saying we need to go this way now. I'm like, well, how is that changing? And then, like, someone else comes up. Like, all cardinal points were being, like, someone had a really good idea, and they were all the opposite ideas.
Luckily for us, we hiked long enough. Eventually, in the treetops, we can see a clearing, right? There's no trees in that area.
That's a good, yeah.
That is where we're going because there's something there we can base ourselves off of.
I don't remember how we got out, which means that I was wrong. You remember how you got out if you were right? And it clearly wasn't it because we just magically appeared after hiking for like, it was dark. It was getting dark. Yeah.
It's getting dark. But anyway, we found our way to a clearing, and we found a really old fire road.
Yeah.
And we followed it, and it eventually led to the gravel road,
the entrance of the gravel road, which is again like 2-3 miles away from our base camp.
Yeah.
So it's not like it like, oh, we got close. Like we were still a hike, and where the gravel road starts is where cell phone reception ends.
Yeah, I mean, we were exhausted.
Yeah.
So what did we do? We made a phone call
Because
to
you know the
there's-
last thing we wanted to do on the first day of our bike trip?
ride 3 miles back,
Ride your bike 3
ride more
miles
bikes.
uphill.
So we made a phone call to the three people who should have been at camp.
And we're like, they will not have cell phone reception. They won't have it. But we're so tired, we'll take a break and we'll take a shot.
And we did.
Who'd I call?
Paralysis.
Prowse.
And he answered.
Answered right away.
First
I'm like,
ring.
dude, you get cell phone reception? Like, that's awesome, dude.
Of course he would get cell phone.
Yeah.
He gets everything, right?
Yeah.
Well, it turns out he wasn't at camp.
he wasn't at camp.
He was at but he also wasn't at the local hospital. But
No,
we'll get to
he
that
was
later.
not at the local hospital, or at least not at the nearest ER room. He's like, hey, everything's all right. I'm like, no, it's not, dude.
Yeah.
We've been,
You don't
we have
understand
been,
what we just did.
we've been hiking. Like, it's not all right. We need you to come get us because we're exhausted. We're like day one, we're at our wits' end. Like, we're dude, this is
home.
wild. And he's like, you don't understand. Everything's all right. We're at the hospital.
And your stomach sunk.
And I'm just like,
Oh.
that's not good.
Nope.
And he's like, Willie J, the guy who got us into mountain biking,
The self-proclaimed.
self-proclaimed best rider of the group. He's like, he messed up his shoulder. And so we obviously rode back. Pretty somber because I'm telling you guys, I'm like, hey, Willie J's in the hospital. And we're like, what could have happened? Like, we're the ones who went on the trail. We did, like, he went back to base camp. What on earth happened?
Yeah, what went wrong? I don't know. It was rough.
And he was like, hey, we took your truck.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Thanks.
Cool. Well, we rode back. We got cleaned up. He's at the hospital. He's not going anywhere. We can get cleaned up.
We're not doctors. Like, we're not going there and helping the
No need
situation.
for us to rush there.
Yeah.
So we showered, had a beer, got ready.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, his cousin's with us, freaking out.
So yeah, that's right. Because Willie J had his cousin, and he we're like, hey, we got the news that he's fine. He's hurt, like he's banged up, but like not catastrophic.
Yeah,
so like
it's not
again,
life-threatening.
we're taking a shower. He is, again, he's not panicking, but he is no longer.
He's not in a good mood.
He's not in a good mood.
Worried,
He's getting frustrated that we're not
irritated. Yeah.
we're not immediately going to the hospital. We're not doctors. So they tell us that. Did they tell us what hospital they were at? Or
They did. Yeah.
they must have, yeah.
They did, but I remember we passed the hospital on the way in,
Like,
right down the road.
Dude, oh look, we're driving by. That's an ER. Like, that would have been a great place to go.
No.
Like 15 minutes away.
No, we took a 45-minute drive to.
Through like backcountry. It's dark out. Like backcountry winding roads to some little podunk ER room. And this is COVID times, so we couldn't even go inside. So we just sat there in the parking lot. He had some people. Were they allowed 2 people with him?
Yeah, the two that rode with him. Just to find out, he broke his shoulder. Right? Did he find out he broke his shoulder there? Or did he have to wait to come back home?
So the doctor was super unclear. Like, I don't know if you've ever been to an ER room, but like the doctor is not going to give you a finite diagnosis. They're gonna refer you to someone else.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, hey, you probably broke your shoulder, and you might have separated.
It was broken.
Bro, you look at the X-rays, which they took X-rays. There's a significant gap in between the bones. Like, oh, where that bone should be one solid piece, it's not.
It's not, and you could also see it
And
on his shoulder.
You could see it on his
Visibly.
shoulder. I'm like, what? Like, this doctor went to school for 3 days, and was like, dude, I got to die. Cool. I don't know. Anyway, remember so like we're all we know that he's fine. Like, and we talked, like we could talk at that point. Willie J was fine. He was talking to us on the phone, but Everett was still freaking out.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah. And the guys
So, of
inside were
course-
like, hey, we need to do all this stuff because they can't talk to each other.
So yeah,
'Cause
that's
Will's not
that's
allowed.
yeah, that's Willie-Jay's cousin. So
They're like, hey, tell Everett we need to get like his allergies and like his next of like you're his next of kin, so we need all
Yes.
this information, right? Oh my
Yes.
God, he freaked out. I
Yes.
forgot about that.
remember, and I was like, hey, we told him that Willie-Jay was getting surgery, emergency surgery, and the doctor needs to know if he has any allergies. And he goes, what did he say? He's like, he gets
Pollen? Did you say pollen?
pollen. He said, well, he gets, yeah, like he's allergic to pollen in like the spring and fall. Dude, I'm not very good at keeping a straight face. I don't know if you can tell, but yeah, I'm losing it. I'm like, they need a next of kin in case something happens. He's like, what do you mean? You said he was fine. I was like, it's an emergency surgery. He's gonna be fine, but things can always go bad.
It's always a possibility.
Bro, like because if he dies on the table, like he needs a next of kin, like he probably still hasn't forgiven us for that.
No.
God, it
There
was
a point where we're
hilarious.
There was a point where we were walking towards the hospital though, and they came out. Right?
Yes, yeah. So I was like,
That's how we ended it. Like, hey, we need to go inside.
Yes.
And as we're walking to the
Say-
doors, he came
we
out.
were like, we're gonna say goodbye like one more time before he goes into surgery. It's just so terrible because he doesn't really know us, so he doesn't know that we're not always the nicest
That was
guys.
funny. That was good.
Dude, that was good. And then we went
To dinner.
went to dinner.
10
We have clean clothes. We have our jackets because it's a little bit chilly. Willie-Jay's like shaking in his. Remember, he had his arm cast.
he was wearing
The same clothes.
the shirt he was riding, his arm cast. And we went to eat at this place that was like, they closed at 11. We got there at 10:30.
Oh yeah.
We ordered
Sorry,
everything.
guys. Yeah.
But we're in the middle of, I think we went back to Elijay. We went to like the closest town.
Yeah. We went back to Elijay. We had a quick dinner, and then and we went back, and of course, like I'm pretty sure we were giving Will a hard time the whole time. Hey, dude, thanks for ruining the first day. Like we're supposed to have fun, and you go to the furthest hospital you can find.
That's funny. That was our, I can't even say first day because it was half a day. That was our first half
Remember,
day
we got
trip.
there at like 2. We rode the pump track for an hour, and then we went out. But it was like we could have driven home, and like that would have been a great story. But we have our only full day ahead of us for day 2, and I went back the second time I went back, and what they recommended. She looked at me and was like, I don't typically recommend this unless I know that the riders are pretty good.
Yeah.
She didn't ask us. I remember she's like, hey, you guys look like you know what you're doing. You should go to Mountain Town, which was the right choice. It was the right choice. It was a lot of fun. So I think we were planning on shuttling, but Willie-Jay was injured.
We had a self-shuttle.
He was so sorry about you, buddy. Drive us up to the top. That was awesome.
Yeah, we had a but someone else, we had 2 cars.
So, yeah, we drove 2 cars up there. We packed in. I left my truck up there. Or someone left their truck up there, and then Will drove down. And then when we got done, he drove us back up. So, to get to the top of Mountain Town from the base camp is like, 45 minutes? A 45-minute drive on the side of a mountain, like single lane climb up there. And single lane climb up there. And, like, there was a couple times, like, another car would come, and, like, you're inches away from going down. It's, like, it was super sketchy. But it's, like, it's one of those things that, like, that's normal up there, so everyone does it, and you just kind of.
Yeah, up there, but we don't do that.
That's all right.
Let's take a quick break,
All right.
and we'll be right back.
Sounds good. All right, we're back.
All right, thank you for waiting. We had to go refill our beers.
Here we go.
I mean, you guys didn't wait because it's just going to play on.
It's just going to play on.
We spent
Yeah.
a few minutes refilling our beers, talking to the owner, so.
Yeah. So, yeah, we had so day 2, we have a shuttle. free shuttle. Thanks, buddy. And we get up there, top of Mountain Town, and the start of this trail is epic. It is, and we didn't, again, all different skills, abilities. We have no idea what we're getting into. And this thing starts out fast, flowy, and it's almost straight downtown.
Downhill.
Downhill, yeah.
It's, correct me if I'm mistaken, but it's the most downhill, fastest downhill of the trip, no?
Yeah, yeah. And
I would
because there's no like speed checks of turns or anything, like it is downhill rollers. And if you try to get any air off the roller, you're just slamming your brakes because
Well, you can. You can get air.
you can, but you're going so fast by the next one and then the next one. It's like 5 in a row. Like I'm sure there's guys out there that just send it.
Oh, I didn't fall that day. I fell the next day.
I felt that day. I felt that day. Yeah, I almost went off. Like
I was hitting those pretty good.
Yeah, we like you and I were out front basically the whole time. But the smell
I was gonna
after
say.
5 minutes of riding,
And when
dude.
all the guys got down, like you can be like, dude, you were holding your brakes way too much.
it was just like burning rubber, and that's like just hot brakes. That's all it smelled like. And so it's like, okay. So remember, guys, you can feather them here and there, and you don't have to like crush them the whole time. That's all right. Like everyone was having fun, and then for a couple miles, it's like 5 miles of trail riding next to streams.
Trail riding, slight down, I wouldn't say downhill, but descending trail, right?
Yeah,
Next
but
to
no
streams.
big climbs.
No, it was fun.
crossing streams.
Water, yeah,
Amazing scenery. Like you're going through, it's single track.
big trees,
Yes.
wide open.
Stream crossings. Bro, it is. I'm like, this is it. Like, this is a mountain biking trip.
Did we post those pictures?
So we posted some. We didn't post any like water crossings, just kind of like general pictures. So maybe we can try to throw a few more up there. I don't want to blow up our buddies if they don't want to be on it. I didn't really ask them, so I just blurred out their stuff. Their faces.
But then that went to, what trail did that lead to after?
So that brought us to the hike a bike.
Oh, that's
So
right.
Mountain Town leads to a hike a bike, which is 1.5 miles. Which when you're at base camp and you're like, hey, you're gonna pick up your bike and walk for 1.5 miles, it doesn't sound hard.
No, you're like, okay.
Yeah, easy.
That's literally going to be 10 minutes of my day.
Yeah, maybe 11.
Wrong.
Oh, this is you're on a mountain, and so you're going over trees that are down. Oh my gosh! And like, to be fair, the people working are like, please do not ride your bike. Like if the ranger catches you, ride the bike, and you're staying at our place, like we get in trouble. Like it's a big thing. So we were respecting the rules of the road, which is frustrating.
Because it's frustrating. I mean, everyone, you have to respect the trail system, right? It's part of the hobby, part of the sport.
Yeah,
But there's parts-
it's a natural forest. Like it's protected. Like there's a good reason for it.
Most of the parts you can't ride in. Like I remember we were lifting our bikes and our buddies over trees and down.
Yeah.
But then there was parts where like, oh come on, I can jump on this real quick and just ride. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that part's frustrating, but like I said, that's part of the job.
Yeah. They're doing it for the right reasons, and I'm happy that we respected it. But at the time, I was like, this is a downhill part. I'm tired of walking. I got this cool little device that I sit on, and with the help of gravity and some pedals, I don't need to walk anymore.
Go really fast.
So that was that started some frustration because we were like, hey, we just had awesome trails. Now we're hiking a bike, but okay, we'll take a little hit. And that led us to Bear Creek, which is mostly fire road, right?
Bear Creek?
Yeah, it's Bear Creek, P1, P2.
No, I wouldn't say mostly firework. It's a mix with mountain biking and hiking. Because remember we came across those people walking the dogs.
Yeah, okay. Yes. Yeah. That's right. That's right. Yeah. So it is. It does get into. It kind of flows between. There is some
We
fire
filled-
roads. Yeah, and then it does get into single track with hikers
We stopped and we filled up water bottles and stuff in the creek.
in the
At least I
stream.
did.
Yeah. Yeah.
I used those tablets they sell. That water was so good.
Yeah.
So cold.
You guys were like, you bought these tablets, and they were like, give it 30 minutes, and it is safe to drink.
I didn't
So-
have 30 minutes. I was dying.
Yeah. Remember what the label said? 4 hours.
4 hours.
You guys are supposed to wait 4 hours.
I
But
waited
don't worry,
like-
the person working the bike shop said wait 30 minutes. You guys waited 3.
Yeah, at least. And then refilled and threw another tablet in there. I was like, if you double the tablet, you'll be fine, right?
Yeah.
That was part of the experience, though. That was,
It is. Listen, if you're refilling water in creeks and streams, there's something cool about that.
you know, you're having a good time.
You're having a good time.
P1, when we made that turn on the P1,
We missed it. Didn't we miss it?
no,
Or did we hit it right away?
no, we hit it.
I might have missed it the second time I went there.
There was an older gentleman there. I remember he was like, "Yeah, you just turn up this way." I remember we made like that 180-degree turn, and it's a heavy
Yeah.
climb, right?
That's right. The old guy was like, it's a bit of a steep climb in the beginning, but it's the most fun you'll have with clothes on.
We're like, "All right, old man,
All right,
we got
guy.
this."
Hey, guy, like, just guide us to the trail. We don't need your commentary on it.
I'm not ashamed to say I walked my bike probably halfway up that.
That was the steepest single track, and it went on for a long time.
A lot of those trails, a lot of those climbs went on for a long time.
And like you can like climbing on a fire road is like long and boring, but it's consistent. You're tired. Like we're going up ruts and rocks and dirt that's slipping out from us. Like we're doing a lot of pushing our bike.
That whole trail system was 20-something miles, 20 or 30-something miles, right?
We did 23 or 24 that day.
So I mean, we were approaching the end of it. So I mean, we were probably close to 15-ish.
Mileage wise, we were at 15, but like difficulty, like time wise, it was. Yeah, I mean we were over, but like that P1 took a lot of time.
It did, well, because it's all uphill. And the point I'm trying to get is like, when you get to P1 and you've done 15 or so miles,
yes,
and now you have to
yes.
do the steepest climb of the day, that sucked.
Well, yeah, like fatigue is set in, like, and again, we're not at this point. No one was like I'm gonna ride every week. I think we'd ridden a couple times to like prep for this, but not on a consistent basis. So, like, your back starts hurting, your legs are tired, like legs start cramping, like you're probably dehydrated. No matter how much water you drink, you're gonna be dehydrated at that point. So it's getting frustrating because like we saw the YouTube videos, P1 and P2, dude, wild downhill runs.
Where were they?
And we haven't hit it yet. I mean, Mountain Town the first 5 minutes was that. After that, it's either been flat or uphill. And even the downhill on P2, which is fun, it's broken up with a few climbs in between. And so we did P1, and like, no, I don't remember anyone like after P1 saying like that was everything I wanted it to be.
No, you're in the misery part of what we talked about in episode 1, right?
Miserable.
You are miserable, and you don't want to do it again, and you're done. But that all goes away.
Yeah, so of course, P1 ends on this super fast downhill. And so everyone's like, that was it, dude. Like, we earned that turn. Then it's a fire, so it leads out to a fire road. So we go down, the fire road goes downhill for a little bit, so we're flying on this fire road. Like, that part of gravel biking is fun when you're just going downhill.
It's very dangerous.
It's so dangerous.
Loose gravel when you're making a turn.
Yes, at 30 miles an hour, loose gravel is, and that tears skin off pretty fast.
Oh,
So-
you're sliding
Yeah,
for a little way.
for a while. Anyway, so we find P2, and the start of P2 is what? It's a climb up. It's a climb up a fire road to get to the start of P2, which we've already talked about. That downhill fun part from the day before is all uphill now. Now looking back, I think it's another 45 minutes of climbing from that clearing we talked about.
Close to. I mean,
when you're
but
tired,
you're also climbing the fire road to get to that clearing.
So yeah, the whole thing.
The whole thing,
Yeah,
I would say.
the fire road plus the climbing of P2 is 45 minutes. And again, we're 4 hours into this. If you've been on your bike for 4 hours on flat, like you're going to be fatigued, especially if you're like us, just average guys like going on a dude trip.
That's it. We're not professional.
We're not professional
by any means.
We are.
So we just jump on a bike and we're not as fit as we want to be.
Yeah,
we're
we're definitely not as fit as what we thought we were 6 hours ago.
Sure.
So there we are. At this is the point where people are like, if I could magically just appear at base camp,
I would.
I would.
I wouldn't do this last trail.
I wouldn't. I don't care. I don't care what is at the end of this trail. I would just magically appear at base camp. Well, we don't have that option, do we?
No, we have to climb. So we climb, and we get to the downhill, and the downhill is all worth it.
Yeah.
I mean, P2 downhill is fast, chunky. At times, it's almost like you're just holding on, right? At a controlled chaos.
Yeah. It's almost like you're surfing a mountain on a bike.
Oh, in controlled chaos, it can very easily become out of control.
Yeah, controlled chaos at the very best, but you're always a fraction of a second. And I think I can't remember the first time. The second time we did it, after you'd section it out. After every section, someone's like, I almost fell here. Everyone had an almost fall. Yeah. And then no one fell. So that's been 2 trips on P2 that we've done pretty good.
Yeah, no one's gotten hurt on P2. And we've had new riders in both trips. So.
Yep. It's one of those trails that like you can ride hard, you can ride but like someone who's like, hey, I don't have a lot of experience can also enjoy and be like, dude, that was crazy, that was exciting. Like you'll get the same rush no matter what level you're at. We get to the bottom, and we all had fun at the bottom of P2, but we're tired.
Yeah, I mean, downhill, not only are you at the end of the day, but downhill fatigues you too. I mean, your forearms are shot, your hands are shot.
Hand fatigue, yeah.
So, and what do you have to do?
We're back at the bottom of that gravel road.
You have to ride back to me.
We have 2 miles, one of which is almost straight uphill.
Uphill, yeah.
So we're exhausted. Like, we're exhausted. We're so tired. So if we had fun at the bottom of P2, no one was smiling on the bike back to base camp.
Oh, no, absolutely not. I made it back to base camp, and I remember I laid on that picnic table while people sat around we weren't talking.
So I have a picture of us, and I didn't post it because I haven't blurred out the faces.
We will post it. It'll be on Instagram.
Yeah. The silence of the picture is the silence.
Was I laying on a picnic table? I laid on that picnic table by my cabin before I showered or anything, I laid on that picnic table for probably a good 40 minutes. And I just contemplated what I was doing.
No one, we got back, no one talked.
Except one person.
Yeah. The guy who didn't ride.
Yeah, Will. Will did not ride.
The self-proclaimed best rider of the group.
And he was like,
with a broken shoulder, was like going around like a child.
He was drunk. He was like, what's wrong with you guys? What are you doing? Get up. Come on, you're wasting time.
Get up. Guys, tell me, how awesome was it? Tell me how awesome it was. We were too tired to talk. And I finally was like, bro, it was amazing. You would have loved it. But right now.
Go away.
I'm just going to sit down. I'm going to get a beer. And I'm just going to relax. Because that was a tough 4 or 5 hours. And that was day 2. We ended up getting pizza that night, and
yeah, we didn't even want to go out. We just
didn't know. Pizza. Yeah, we're some 9 guys. Like let's go downtown. Negative. We got pizza. We stayed back. Tried to light a fire so we could just stare at the flames. Day three was probably the best day.
Yeah, because it was a half day. We had to leave before
Yeah, so we were trying to leave at like 1?
noon or 1 or
yeah.
something like that.
Be done at noon, leave at 1 type of thing.
So we lost 2 riders that day. They didn't want to ride. So we had Will, who was hurt.
Yep.
His cousin, and another buddy of ours didn't want to ride.
Yeah, he was like, I just did yesterday without getting hurt. I can't take that chance. I can't take that chance 2 days in a row. There's no way that I can do
We went all the way back up top. We rode the top again.
Mountain Town, which it was all the creek, the stream crossings and that fast downhill. And then we did.
We exited before Hike a Bike.
So Hike a Bike, yeah. Hike a Bike was to the right, and then it was like, hey, you can ride a different trail through the left.
Yeah, I mean, but before we get there, we went all the way up top. We took that downhill again. I fell in that downhill.
That's right. That's right, because it sounded like because I was 1, you were 2. It sounded like a bear was chasing me.
So I was more confident.
That's right. Yeah.
I was more confident. I was sending those rollers. We got some kids riding on the track. I knew that was going to happen. I love it.
Dude.
I was sending those rollers hard, and I sent one, and I came down on, no joke, a boulder. It was in the middle of the trail. I don't remember it there the day before, but it was there, and my front tire landed right on it, and it just sent me. I turned, I sent, I flipped, I rolled probably like 4 or 5 times. My bike stayed in the middle of the trail, and as soon as I popped up, I was like, the rider behind me, I was like, it was our buddy, and I was like, I need to get that bike out of the way.
Yeah,
he's gonna hit my bike. He's gonna get hurt.
We're pretty close, like a couple seconds apart. So
that's also a mistake, but
it's dude. When you're in a downhill, like a mountain biking like line of people, it's so much fun. It's so dangerous, but it's like it's way slower than the videos I watch on Instagram, but it feels like this.
I popped up and I was like, I need to get my bike. I remember I was running towards my bike as he was running towards me. But I grabbed my bike, spun it away, managed to raise it.
That was like that's the fast part of the trail. So everyone's I remember because it sounded like there was a bear chasing me, and I'm going too fast. Like I can't look behind me and see if you're okay. Because like if I look behind me, I'm gonna hit a tree. Yeah, I'm just gonna keep on riding. Wow.
But we made it and we did the rest of the trail.
It didn't hurt your confidence because when the rest of the trail leads to this gravel downhill, and I was like, this gravel downhill. The neighborhood had these like rollers. We're doing 30 miles an hour. You were sending rollers. 30 miles an hour on gravel, and I'm like, that's the wildest thing I've ever.
I did it with my gorilla.
Right? Yeah.
We were flying. It was a St. Victor. It's a gravel road, right? Freshly gravel. There's houses on it. Very cool.
Yeah.
Guys, let's play tag.
Spinning the roller.
Tell me that's it. Guys, let's play tag.
We just like, oh, let's climb over. Well, I go to like first gear, and my
Catastrophic.
my fall bent my gorilla, and it caught us both over the river.
Yeah, because in the first gear, your derailleur is supposed to be exposed. You got there, and it just, yeah. And it's not one of those fixes that you just like shake it or just keep it out of first gear. Your bike will get down.
Luckily, they showed up.
Yeah.
That was our first trip.
Yeah. But again, I just want to go back. I think that like solidified mountain bike, but it solidified the adventures that we do have. How many? We're not saying that adventure is unique to us. time you get one on something can happen. And it's a memory that no one can ever take away. Again, there's a lot of bad things that happen, but like I wouldn't change it. That was awesome. That was epic.
That's what started our like these trips every year because every trip is some sort of Jesus. I'm glad we're doing this. I'm glad we're able to talk about it.
Yeah.
Because like you said earlier, I want to hear about this. Mountain biking has opened up so much for us. I want to hear about the stories.
Yeah, because we know we got another trip in the books for next year, but we haven't solidified the spot. So like, if someone has a trip, like, hey, you wouldn't believe the story I had here. Like, okay, let's have it, dude. Let's go there. Like, we've been to a couple places. I've never shy away from going back to Mulberry Gap. Ever. Like, I don't know what that is. But if someone's like, dude, you gotta check it out, something else, yeah, absolutely. And that's what it's all about. We have gone other places. I think in the next couple episodes, dude, I would love to bring some of the guys that we've ridden with and get their experience. Obviously, Elijay has got both of us into riding. We gotta have him. He's the guy that got it. So he's probably going to come try to defend himself and say that it was some giant jump trap that children can do. But we could also, I mean, we've been back to Mulberry Gap. We went to Jared's place. We haven't even touched on Jared's place. So we'll see what we talk about, what our schedules look like. But dude, we got adventures galore. So
Yeah, and I just want to say, if you're listening to us and you do have other adventures, send us an email.
Yeah.
b3mtbcrew@gmail.com. Let us know. We'll check it out. And if you're a rider who wants to join adventures,
send
let us
it.
know.
Dude. Yeah, absolutely.
We can set up rides.
It's all about community, and we enjoy that. We got any merch shout outs? We kind of gave Cascade Armory a shout out last time.
Yes, we do. So I remember I talked about this last episode, the Ergon grips.
Yeah.
I put them on my bike. They're so good. And I didn't expect them not to be good.
Yeah, they're
they
kind of the standard, the gold standard, I think.
So Ergon grips, shout out to Ergon grips. Their grips are amazing. They're so comfortable. I'll put them through more rides. I'm going to keep them on my bike. I'm not going to change them. But I'll put them through more rides, and if anything comes up, I'll let you know. But I don't think it will. I'm very confident that they're going to stand up to what.
Can I defend my grips? Because we joked around about my grips only being for the color.
Do you have a defense?
Though they're phenomenal.
Okay.
Like, so I would have been drier underwater, and I have DMR death grips. I would have been drier underwater. Like, I cannot repeat that enough. And I remember, like, the only thing I'm thinking is, like, dude, my grips are amazing.
Did you go home and check them out that day and be like, wait a minute?
I did. I had to figure out what grips. Because, like, you buy grips. Like, my wife bought those grips for me. I didn't do any research. But they just turned out to be awesome. Like, I kind of forgot about it. Like, they're just, like, I'm not going to pick my bike apart. Like, I don't know how long my my chainstay is. Like, I don't know I don't know, like, my slack angle. Like, I don't know how long my cranks are. I just ride.
Don't
Okay.
expect you. We're not pros.
We're not pros.
We're average
so
guys.
those grips are a year old, and I love them, but I forgot the name of them. Okay, like
It happens.
it happens, but they're awesome. So I would like to defend that. Shout out. I have a shout out. Publix. BOGO on Voodoo Ranger.
Right now?
Right now. So this gets pushed out on Monday. You have until Wednesday because new deals come out on Thursday.
Okay.
Oh yeah, we're stocking up. Yeah, we're gonna be a Voodoo Ranger family for this week.
I remember. Yeah, no, I remember. You introduced me to Voodoo Ranger. I'm pretty sure it was you.
The juicy IPAs.
Yes.
The juicy IPAs.
'Cause you
dude.
brought 'em.
Yeah, I brought them that on this trip, on the first Mulberry Gap trip, and you're like, this is the best thing ever. I'm like, yeah, they're phenomenal. So
Alright.
I stopped, I'll be honest, I stopped drinking all, like, that's one of my favorite. I was like, I'll drink the other one so you can have that. Which we had another friend who, was it the juicy IPAs? That we were like, dude, this is the best beer that I brought. I gave it to him after the first night.
Oh, yeah.
Remember him?
Yeah, he asked for a beer. I'm like, oh, yeah,
Dude,
that's right.
Yeah, dude. So he popped it open, and we talked by the campfire. And again, it was pretty mellow, pretty chill. We were exhausted. We talked for like 15, 20 minutes. And he's like, dude, I'm tired. I'm going to go to bed. So there's a trash can where you throw away empties. And he drops his full beer in the trash can. Well, the trash can was empty, so you just heard
Just the loudest thud. And everybody at the campfire, I remember everyone at the campfire turned and was like, really? And all he said was, good night.
No, he goes, someone's like, that was a full beer. He goes, yep, good night. Didn't have a sip from it, dude.
Oh, man.
Thanks, buddy. All right,
See,
guys.
memories don't, even when you forget
Dude,
to talk about
yeah.
them, they come up.
Yeah, so good times. Next week we'll have some other good stuff. But thanks for listening. B3mtb podcast. We're on socials, Instagram, YouTube. I think that's it. Wherever you listen to podcasts.
Check us out.
Yeah.